This thing is so freaking alive!
So, if you haven't noticed, the SNES is possibly my favorite console of all time. It's my lover, my one and only, that gaming console with the 16-bit charm, with quite possibly some of my favorite games of all time. Well, let's get to the chase. So I wanted to do a top 10 list regarding the Super Nintendo. But let's face it, top 10 favorite SNES games have been done by everyone and their grandmother. Want an interpretation of what mine would be like? This game is awesome. This game is amazing. What the hell can I say about this that hasn't already been said? And this can kick Skyrim's ass any day of the week. So instead, I'm going to bend the rules. A lot. For the sake of narrowing it down and make it rather unique. So this is going to be a top 10 list of my most overlooked gems on the Super Nintendo. What I mean by that is simply games that people don't know about. But they're great games nonetheless. Just games that nobody ever talks about or ever brings up. Whether it be top 10s, reviews, or other forms of media. These aren't to be confused with over-criticized games. Hell, the people who know these games probably love them. The placing of these games is going to be what I find more preferable, but as long as it's considered overlooked, it's a possible candidate. So no tricks, no other rules, as long as I played the game, and trust me on this, there are many games I'm willing to try just because I've heard great things about them from other people, and I deeply apologize for not placing these games on my list. I really wanted to. And Earthbound will not be included on this list for reasons I've explained on my other lists. With that, let's get started. So starting off this list is something that a few people probably do know, and I can already see the reaction. Yeah. Well, who said I can't play something I feel to be a little over-criticized? There is also a reason why it's so high, because I had a few games to choose from and I don't feel strongly for this game. Number 10 is the action RPG, Lagoon. If you kept up to date with iPod Hat Jalo, aka Happy Video Game Nerd, you most likely know what this game is. It has the case where only the minority will like it. And it has a really steep learning curve, and I mean really steep learning curve. And bosses that will make you throw your Super Nintendo controller across the room. But mixing in the simple swordplay with the sword that resembles a butter knife, along with a nice magic system where you can combine two items in order to make a bunch of different spells, and you're in for very solid gameplay. It does have a number of flaws, but solid gameplay along with simple enough story that's both fast moving and forgettable, along with simple RPG elements, is enough for me to say that this game is at the very least worth a shot. But approach with caution. So you might have heard about the Adventure Island series, you may have not. Some were exposed to the simple side-scrolling platforming. Me, I got exposed to the Zelda 2 ripoff. I mean, a totally original and innovative free-roaming platformer. Got a problem with it? No? Good. Super Adventure Island 2 is a pretty fun game complete with some neato bosses, fun IMCUs on your adventure, magic, and along with your standard Save the Princess story. It also has some pretty cool tracks, some fun level design, and a lot to explore. In short, it's a simple yet fun free-roaming adventure side-scrolling platform game, and I say, give it a shot. Hey, remember when license-based games actually used to be competent? No. Well, the SNES did actually have a small lineup of fairly competent movie-based titles, and don't be surprised if you see one or two on this list, like right now. Hook is a game based off the movie Hook. Not to be confused with Disney's Peter Pan. Anyway, it's just a simple, side-scrolling, linear platformer. Its music is quite good, the stages are fun to go through and has some systems to give even more enjoyment. The characters do move a bit slower than I would like, but overall it's fun and it really does keep all the elements that make platformers great, and that's all you really need to know. Oh man, I remember when this game was constantly talked about. All I have to say is, why? Why was the second one in the series the one that got the spotlight? I honestly couldn't get into the second one of the Breath of Fire series. The story went absolutely nowhere, and hey, I got pretty far into it to at least see some story. All that was happening was me chasing some female I did not know anything about, which didn't make me want to play the game anymore. The game I'm actually placing on this list is the first one that started the series. I very rarely see it talked about, but it does have much more likable characters, an actual plot that's very fast moving, a main character that could turn into a freaking dragon, and overall a much better atmosphere that makes me feel that this game should be talked about a lot more and noticed than the second installment. Yeah, it did have some annoying flaws, but nothing that should break the gameplay altogether. And it also does have some of the worst translations I have ever seen, to the point of being incredibly laughable, but it's still a very nice RPG nonetheless. You have a disagreement? Well, screw you, it's my list. Once upon a time, there was a company by the name of Blizzard we all know about, but they used to be called Interplay, and they made 2 games based off of 3 incredibly corny characters called the Lost Vikings. And they are certainly lost if they found their way into Egyptian tombs. Anyway, the Lost Vikings is a very solid puzzle game that features you having to move 3 Vikings across the stage and reach the goal. We got the graceful jumper, the main attacker, and that guy who just stands there just to take hits for you. All of these Vikings have unique attributes that will help them across as you solve puzzles and slaughter your foes. Sounds easy enough? The stages get really punishing later on, and if one dies, you lost. You won't be able to complete the stage at that point. It's a very tough game, but you will feel so rewarded at the end just being able to see that corny dialogue. If you're into the puzzle genre, and you want a challenge, give this game a chance. And the second one was even better due to how there is so much variety in gameplay and how there are 2 new characters to play as. Unfortunately, I do not own the second one, but I have tried it. In all, it's a game I can easily say I played a lot just trying to get further into the game, and it should be enjoyed. Hey look, Enix! You expect something great, right? The next one on this list is none other than Brainlord, another action RPG that has a lot to offer. It almost can be considered a puzzler as well due to how many riddles there are in this game, and they will cause your head spinning just trying to figure them out. But the game is very solid, and it feels like an action RPG with an arsenal of weapons, magical powers, equipment, and your very own pets you can call Coco. It just has all those things I feel a good RPG should have, and that's why it's on my list. The only reason why it's not any higher is mainly due to the ending. But I'm not getting into that. Ah yes, getting back into the licensed games. You know they're great. Sometimes. Well, the next game on this list is a lad... Wait a sec. People consider this a classic. In fact, I find it overly talked about. But there are a huge amount of flaws that make me appreciate the game a lot less than others. Kind of forgettable stages, very easy with no option to change your difficulty. The red gems are worthless to try and collect just for the alternate credits. A mini game solely based on luck. Yeah, sure, it was fun going through it once, but that was it. So no, I don't view this as a great game. But there was something I find a lot more appealing. Do you guys remember a game that probably caused you a lot of frustration as a child? Something that probably made you just cry so much that you probably never played this game again. The game that's actually on my list is none other than the game from one of the best Disney films I find to be in existence, The Lion King. What's so great about this? Well, it's quite challenging, in a good way. But the challenge isn't everything. Nope, it's the amazing presentation that Disney Interactive gave. Some great tunes that felt to be very nice remix versions of memorable songs from the movie itself. The graphics are just stunning with very nice backgrounds as well. Loads of variety within theme stages and fun bonus stages, and enemies that shouldn't bug you too much. Yeah, momentum is non-existent in this one, but I say it's something you should adapt to in order to experience a great game. Hey, remember that one sequel to that certain game that everyone seemed to love? Remember how the fans were enraged, how they didn't get the same game with a different number in front of it, and instead we were exposed to an entirely different game? Yeah, that's right. This game was actually one of those weird situations where people who liked Secret of Mana didn't like this game. People who didn't like Secret of Mana actually liked this game. And since this was the predecessor of Secret of Mana, people who wanted Secret of Mana 2 were disappointed, and the ones who never really cared just didn't give much for this game, which is unfortunate. I actually like Secret of Evermore more. Evermore more? Talk about tongue twisters. Anyway, I always seem to be the odd type who appreciates darker atmospheres more, and that's what Evermore has as far as setting goes. It also felt like there was a lot less grinding compared to Mana. Nice atmospheric music instead of what I consider to be on-par music, and much more memorable bosses that didn't feel like the same recycled bosses all the time. Very enjoyable gameplay combined with nice presentation just makes it feel what an RPG should feel like. So we are getting close, and I'm sure you're expecting something with deep elaboration. Wrong. But don't forget, simplistic doesn't always mean bad. And Soul Blazer is a prime example of how you make something very simple, but yet very fun to play. What do? You just slash your sword around with a variety of magic you can use. Yes, that's gameplay in a nutshell. The courses are also pretty well themed and designed so that things don't get repetitive. The tombs are also very memorable, the bosses are very fun, and the story is great. That's really all you need to know. Give this game some time, it's very fun just to place in this game and play it for a while, just to take all those worries you have out of your mind. So I guess it's time for recapping. Number 10, you belong to the minority, you might like this game. Number 9, Zelda 2 ripoff! Seriously, it's fun. Number 8, competent movie games for the win. Number 7, Breath of Fire. Number 6, The Lost Vikings in Egypt. Number 5, confusing puzzles with Brainlord, as the title says. Number 4, the movie-based game that I love that people don't seem to care much about. Number 3, Secret of Evermore. Number 2, very simplistic but very fun, Soul Blazer. And finally, we come to the number 1 SNES title that everyone should check out. I got to ask, how the hell do people not know about this game? No, I'm serious. The Illusion of Gaia is an amazing game. Where do I begin? Great gameplay that offers very nice variety, great tunes, graphics that could compete with Chrono Trigger, a nice variety of characters to play as with different moves, keeping the content fresh, and an epic story, all packed into one great linear adventure. This game really does have a lot to offer that will make you easily play this game over and over again. You have not experienced a true RPG until you played The Illusion of Gaia. And it's such a shame that people don't know about this this amazing game. You'll fall in love with the setting, the bosses, the story, just about everything that I feel a standard RPG should have. Yes, this was back in the day where stories just felt so much more creative and fun, and this is just the prime example. Taking place in the age of explorations, combining it with fantasy-like elements, made it so fun to experience the story again and again. This is not just number 1 on this particular list, it would also be close to one of my all-time favorite SNES games. It's just that amazing. I'm TLCG, and The Illusion of Gaia is a game everyone should check out.